This is Natasha D'Souza reporting for SALT Voices, and I'm here at SALT Abu Dhabi with Sarah Kunst, the founder and managing director of Cleo Capital. Welcome, Sarah. Good to have you with us.
You.
Your
It's great
first
to be
time
here.
in Abu Dhabi.
Yes.
What are your thoughts, reactions?
The weather is amazing. Okay. I love it.
Tell me a little bit about the panel that you're going to be a part of a little later today. I know we're covering a bit of a broad spectrum, with consumer to financial technology investing, but you have been in many ways a pioneer within the investing space with what you're doing with Cleo Capital. What are you looking to bring to the table at the discussion today?
I'm super excited to talk about the trends that we're seeing in consumer investing. I think that there's been a lot of talk of, are we in a bubble? What's happening in tech investing? But I think that there are so many exciting new companies still being created and so many new regions that are starting to see more investment, and I'm super excited about it.
I love the fact that, not just with Cleo, again, we're seeing a lot of more representation within the VC space, but even your strategy. When we look at, VC and representation, when that whole discussion comes up, and I've done some reporting in this space, a lot of the discussion centers on we need to have enough female general partners. Like that's what the problem is. Put more women at the decision-making table, and then we'll see more diverse businesses come to the forefront. But you're focusing on scouts. Take us through the importance of a scout within this process and why you chose to focus on female scouts.
Yeah, so scouts are basically angel investors who are investing with somebody else's money, right? So they're angel investors who aren't personally liquid yet, and often they're founders who are making, not a lot of money, but they have an amazing network. They can get amazing access. They just don't have any money to invest against it. And so scouting has been around. Sequoia, the venture capital firm, invented sort of the category of scout investing about 10 years ago. And I was a scout with them. But there just weren't a lot of women in the entire industry who were doing this scout investing. And to your point about general partners, you can't just wake up one day, no matter how brilliant you are, and say, I'm going to be a general partner of a venture fund. You generally want to have some sort of investing track record beforehand, especially if you're going to get hired into a big firm or raise a lot of money outside of friends and family for your fund. And so if women or anybody doesn't have the money to angel invest, then they can't get the track record to then be able to go join a venture fund.
So they're automatically eliminated from that kind of leadership pool?
Yeah, it's a lot harder to break in, right? Okay. And so when you look at some of the top venture capital funds now in Silicon Valley, a lot of them are alumni of or started out as angel investors or scout investors. And so, once you get into a few deals and you find something that becomes, the next Kareem or the next, whatever.
I think we're all looking for the next Kareem.
Exactly. Then, you can take that and say, look, I'm a good investor. Give me more money to invest.
How did you break into the space?
So I started, when I was in my early 20s, I started as an investor at a bigger fund. So I was an investment analyst, which is very much another way to break in, but it really is a way to break in if you're like under 27 probably, right? There's not a lot of 35-year-old, 40-year-old entry-level investment analysts. And so I broke in a more traditional way, but when you look at some of the smartest VCs in the industry, they didn't necessarily start out as an investor at 22, 23, 24. And so angel investing, scout investing tends to be the other way in.
How are you, working with your female scouts? And are you also looking at increasing the pool of potential female scouts? We see a lot of VC funds, for example, Portfolio. They do a lot of work with educating women to become better investors in the kinds of businesses they bring to the table. Is there anything you're doing in that space in terms of increasing the pool of potential scouts?
So my scouts, they're all amazing. They're all female founders who have raised between 5 and 50 million on their own. And so I love the work that Portfolio does. What Portfolio does is a lot of finding, lawyers, doctors, women who have money, right? They have the money to angel invest. They just don't have the tech exposure. And it's a super vital service, and I absolutely love it. What I'm doing is sort of the flip side of that, which is I'm taking women who already have raised money from the top VCs, who already know the top founders, who have, some of the biggest names in tech on their boards as advisors. They just don't personally have the money to angel invest. So for them, it's really not about sort of the education. It's about just the capital. All they need is the money.
All they need is the money because they have the network.
They have the network. They have the education. They're often advisors, and they're often helping people for free because they don't have, the money to put in.
Tell me about the kinds of businesses at Cleo that you're looking to invest in.
Yeah. For me, so the scouts each kind of pick their own thesis. They decide what they're interested in.
So you're industry agnostic.
So yes, we're very industry agnostic. For me, it's really focused on platforms and marketplaces. That's what I personally really focus on investing in. I'm really interested in things that, work for consumers. And when they work at massive, massive scales, right? So things like Kareem, I love because it totally changes how you get around. And I can't imagine, right, this trip, I'm not staying at the conference hotel. I couldn't imagine how I would get around without it.
Right. Okay. And take us about the future now. Tell us about the future. You raised 3.5 million, for Cleo. Tell us, I think, when do we expect perhaps a future raise, for the fund?
So generally speaking, you fundraise every couple of years. And so I just finished last year. And so
So you're not ready to get back on the fundraising
Not quite ready, but it'll be soon, right? And the exciting thing is there's been so much support. There's been so much interest. There's been, Wall Street Journal just named me one of the top female VCs in America, which was super exciting. And I've been on Bloomberg. And so it's just been great to
Forbes
be able
30
to,
under
Forbes
30.
30 under 30.
Giving us all goals.
And so it's been great, and there's been a lot of support, and so I'm excited for when I do raise Fund 2.
Tell me about any chances, Cleo Capital might be making any inroads in the region or potentially opening yourself up to opportunities for investable businesses here in this part of the world.
Yeah, I mean, I love investing in businesses all over the world. I certainly don't think that every smart person who has a, venture scale startup is going to be living in the Bay Area. I currently invest all over America. I've looked at a lot of deals outside of America. For me, because of the way my fund is structured, they have to have a US-based entity for me to wire money into, but I don't care where their office is. I think that regions like this have so much potential for growth.
True.
And I think that there are going to be so many amazing companies that come out of it, and I'm excited to watch and get involved.
Exciting. It's been wonderful meeting with you and speaking with you, and I'm excited to see, I think, where your trajectory takes you next. Thank you so much for being with us, Sarah.
Thank you.
Thank you.